What's going on, everybody? It's the AEW. That's All Elite Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland right here on the Bootleg Kev podcast.
Yo, man, Bootleg Kev podcast. Special guest in here. The AEW World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yo.
I got to talk to this guy at Rolling Loud, and since then he has picked up this amazing piece of hardware.
Amazing hard work hardware.
Yeah.
So
I got to ask you, man, like, it's kind of crazy because I had seen you're kind of like somebody on Twitter had posted, I guess, like a Twitter version of like your come up in the last like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Like you had kind of went from like being kind of like underutilized and underappreciated in a different company to come into AEW, and you've been making noise for, over a year now. And like, what's it feel like when you finally are able to put this on and like hold that thing up? Like,
man, it's literally like I'm probably the only one from like that 205 Live era to go into world heavyweight title status.
So crazy,
It's
205
like,
Live, yeah.
Yeah, so like, if you look at that roster, that crop of talent, I don't think people would have like really saw me as that at the time. There would have been like, I probably would have been the last choice or one of the last few choices of like one of the guys that could have been like the headliner, main eventer, world champion type material in that era. And like, I never would say like I was like underutilized or I just didn't have enough time there. Like you see a lot of guys who are main eventing over there now, they had a lot of time.
They've been a long time to marinate, get their characters, make the fans care.
But also like build equity with the company.
Right.
Like, build time with them. They build, like, they grow. Like that's like Drew McIntyre is a prime example of that. Who's a guy who's like
The primest example. Yeah.
Who was there, but then got let go, but then came back, and then like, okay, he has a lot more time and tenure, so now he can like grow with the audience, grow with the roster, grow with the staff, grow with the marketing team, departments, all.
He's
that
made
stuff.
me like him, and I was
Shout out Drew. He's a good
he's
homie.
killing it. Yeah, he's killing
it. That's a homie. He's a homie. But like it's just like with that place, it's just about time and equity and putting in like you just building chemistry and trust within that organization. And I just didn't have a lot of time there, and then they didn't allow me a lot of time.
Right.
If I would have, who knows what I would have been doing over there still? I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have gotten better. Maybe it would have. But like, that's just that's how the business works with these things. And I took my opportunity, and I built time and equity with Tony, and Tony trusted me from day one. Tony literally was like, day one, I have plans for you. And I want to put you on to do what you do. Be you, be yourself, and go out there and perform, because that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm like bringing you in here to do.
Yeah, it's. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Get the mic. Well, you can just pull it down.
No problem.
So that's one thing. Like with Tony, is it feels like he's like as much as he's a very successful guy, very wealthy guy. It feels like when he's running AEW, he runs like he's like a fan first, which I think is a very cool approach to like wrestling, because we've always seen like certain people where we're like, man, I wish that guy would get over, or that guy would get an opportunity. And I feel like Tony's the guy who's on Twitter like, I wish that guy would get an opportunity. But he's running the company.
Yeah.
What is like what do you think are the misconceptions about Tony Khan, and like what are some things that like you've already kind of learned just being so close to somebody like that who's a powerful guy, He's
a guy that likes good wrestling.
Yeah.
He's literally like, as far as like what he likes, he's one of the fans. And when it comes to that, he just likes to see good wrestling. And that's what All Elite Wrestling is mainly about. Like, how you went over the fan base is like, you got to do it in the ring. Like, there's certain guys and certain people, certain acts and certain performers, they get opportunities to do it in other different ways, and that's great. But like, ultimately, it's a wrestling company. It's literally like, primarily, we like have the best wrestling, and to be the top of that card, be the top of the company, you got to perform. And in the time when All Elite Wrestling started, that was kind of deprived on national television.
Oh, for sure.
For a while.
It was definitely a dark era over at the other spot.
And but they've always had great talent, though.
For sure.
It was just like the product was primarily something what they wanted to present, something that was sports entertainment. That's what they built the bread and butter from.
Right.
You know, that's what they do, and like nobody does it better than them. We wanted to build our narrative, our alternative to what's unique to us and what the fan base was missing at the time, and what the industry needed. And it was just like, we need an alternative. We need some place where even people that were over there that really wanted to break out and just deliver the type of wrestling they wanted to do, not the type of wrestling that they want to show, the type of wrestling they wanted to do, show their art. And All Elite Wrestling gave them that. And you've seen Moxley come over, you know, like showing his rejuvenation in the wrestling business. Bryan Danielson rejuvenated. Adam Cole rejuvenated. Myself rejuvenated, and letting the creators and the artists create and be art. Christian, like showing like another like, man, he can run with this thing another 5-10 years if he wanted to. You know,
just a hell of a heel. He always was such a good heel too.
Right. But also AEW allowed him to like really push the boundaries on the material as well. You know, like there's certain like
certain stuff that you guys will do.
Yeah. Even the source material, like you can't say certain things like talking about dead fathers and stuff. Like there's certain ways you can't like really go in a WWE with AEW.
Right.
Tony really he gets a kick out of like pushing the boundaries a little bit more on national television, and you know that's where competition always really stemmed from in pro wrestling.
I was going to ask you like when you get over there, right? Because you know it's so hard. I love watching wrestling. I have a surface level understanding of what's going on with AEW at all times, but like I told you before the start, like it's harder for me to watch it because I don't have cable and shit, but. I love wrestling. I watch every pay-per-view. I try to go to at least 3 or 4 a year. Could you kind of like give me an idea of what it's like? Like you get to AEW, what are the things that, you know, you feel like, okay, I have to do this, or this to start to make the fans give a fuck about me? Because to me, that's the hardest thing. Is like there's so many guys that are really good at wrestling, and they can put on great matches. They can take great bumps. They can make guys look good. But it's like the X factor is like, how do you get the people to give a fuck about you like that? Because that's where this comes into play. That's you know what I mean. And to me, that like you said, you didn't have time to even figure that out really with WWE. So like, what were the things that you were able to kind of like conscientiously do to kind of like make people really give a fuck?
For me, it was always about like what lane isn't being taken up. For me, that's where I first start thinking.
Smart.
I look at, I observe the landscape of like everything. I start with my home base, which was All Elite Wrestling. I look at the roster, male, female, managers, groups, factions, management, managers. I look everywhere. Then I look at the archetypes. What archetypes are being taken up? You know, is there the jocks? There's the you know, the artists. Then there's the dark characters of the House of Black. Okay, so you look at all of these type of things. I'm like, okay. And then it's like, where do I fit in with these things? And then also like, what's something unique about myself that I know, that I truly know about myself, that I can really portray and display to the world in my way. Where's my voice? It's like, look at this. Like it's almost the music industry. Look at all these albums. I'm like, all these albums that you see right here tell different stories. They have different archetypes. They have different looks.
Right.
It's like, how does a speaker box like stand out to a Ready to Die from Biggie? How does a College Dropout with Kanye West stand toe to toe with a Carter 3 with Wayne?
Right.
You know, how does a Chronic with the Dog Pound and like all these things? So you're just looking at like, where can I get in, where I fit in, figure it out. Then of course it's AEW. It has to be proven in the ring.
You got to go out there and wrestle your ass off.
You got to prove it in the ring. You got to prove it in the ring. Promos are amazing, and I would say it's 60-40.
Wrestling to promo or promo to wrestling?
Wrestling to promo. 60% in the ring, 40%. Another place is like more, maybe flip the other way. You know?
Yeah.
You know, like,
for sure.
But
hell, there's been guys that's been 90-10 promo to wrestling.
and they've had long, illustrious careers.
Some of them haven't.
Yeah. Some people and there's very few people that can do that. Like even at MJF, he's like heavy promo. But at the end of the day, he goes out there and he proves it in the ring,
right.
And he wrestles his ass off and he shows out. So
that guy got a hell of a tan when he was away, by the way.
Oh yeah, brutal.
He came out, said he looks like he came straight from Cancun.
Yeah, oh yeah, probably was. Like all that rest, man.
Yeah,
but he was also working. His body shows it. He looks great. For sure. But so then you also got to find out once again. You start all over again in the ring. Where do I fit in? What lane is being taken up? The luchadors. They're killing it. Right. Like you can't. It's very hard to compete with like a Vikingo, a Phoenix.
Right. You're not going to out luchador the luchadors.
You can't out lucha the luchadors. Then just like the grappling and the Greco-Roman style. It's like, well, Bryan Danielson's is the best in the world at that. So then you just kind of like narrow it down. So it's just for me, it's just like something that's really. I like film. I'm a big fan of like film and horror. Right. So I was like, horror mixed with a hip hop mogul. That's two different genres, but if I bleed these together, I can kind of create something very unique and
something
new.
That's never been done.
Maybe. Like,
I don't remember that ever.
But just for that sake, it was just like it's so far fetched, and like if you say it out there, it's like you say it out loud. It's like that doesn't make sense. How do you make that happen? It's like okay, take like a Snoop Dogg Bones.
Shout out to Bones, man.
Yeah.
Shit, that showed us how great of an actor Snoop wasn't.
Yeah. but
true.
But it fits. And then I'll take like I'm a Wesley Snipes fan. Then there's like a New Jack City, a Blade, a Demolition Man.
Yeah, Demolition Man. Yeah.
So there's all these like little elements. I'm like these are images that I like. That I
almost
think
like you're putting your mood board together, kind of.
It's in a sense, but it's just I never put anything on. Paper.
but like mentally, you're like It's
just like that's what's going on in my head. I'm just throwing all these things out there.
And you're also like you also do hip hop like in real life.
Right. So I'm like, how do I be like? And I know like the Acclaimed had like the hip hop, the rapping thing going on. So I was like, okay, how do I do? I'm still hip hop, but I don't want to clash.
You don't want to be there.
Them.
Yeah.
I want to be something business sense. So I was a mogul, kind of doing a lot of things as it is, like acting and podcasting and music and music videos. I direct them all my music videos, producing and all that stuff. So like that's kind of a mogul thing. So I just came up with mogul to feel like just something bigger than just rapping. So that's how that came about. And then there was like elements of like when after the All In match and going in the coffin and stuff, I was like, I'm a big fan of Sweeney Todd. So I was like, let me add a little like darkness to the eyes, make me feel let me go sink a little more deeper into the character and darken it up a little bit more to feel like, all right, something's different about Swerve than any other person on this roster. Right. And he's giving me a different tone and feel, but I never actually tell you what it is. I want the fans to kind of like go through in my
each
category.
Week.
Each week, but I want them to go back and try to find and trace through where this really crept in and really started. So now you're kind of having fans doing their own like picking apart and find a like kind of like once again when we used to buy albums back in the day, we used to go through the booklets.
Oh, for sure. We used to like who produced what?
Yeah, who produced what? Yeah. The art. Who's did the art direction? Who did this?
Yeah. Let me look at the thank yous. Who got thanked in this album?
Who the credit is? I kind of want them fans to do that with me, the character.
That's fire.
Rather than just like look at me and see what you're getting. Like, oh, we like him, but what's more there? There's something more deeper. Let me go out and find and search what's deeper with Swerve.
Do you remember like the first like real crowd pop you got where you were like, oh, it's working?
I would honestly say when I was getting good reactions, and then like we were getting like when it was really a pop was New York. It was a Grand Slam. We had I didn't wrestle on Grand Slam, but we had the Mogul Embassy Gates of Agony. They wrestled the Young Bucks and Hangman Page and Rampage that night. So Grand Slam is Arthur Ashe Stadium, big venue. We were coming out pretty late on the show on Rampage, and so the Gates of Agony and Nana go out to do their match. I come out in the middle, like right before commercial break. I come out in the middle of it to interrupt and cause distraction a little bit. And I come out in this big fur coat from Daniel's Leather. Shout out Daniel's Leather. And the music hits because like they had different music than me. So they came out their music, so they didn't get Nana's dance yet.
Right.
Middle of the match. My music hits, Nana stops, looks up the ramp, and goes, boom, starts hitting the dance, and the whole crowd starts doing it with them.
Fire.
Like in unison, like boom. I was like, we got it. Now we got him.
Now we got something.
Now we got him. That's when I knew that was like, it wasn't necessarily the crowd pop, but it was the crowd interaction and the wave, just all, like I said, big venue. You could see it from like here all the way up to the top in like different parts. Then from that city forward, it was just happening in every city. And it's like, nah, hit that thing tonight. Do it.
That's
do it.
Fire.
And that's the thing. That's where like AEW, they kind of like, they reward that feeling. Just like, all right, no, this is working. I'm not going to pull you back. Like, it's going. Go with it. Flow. Do your thing.
Yo, you, we talked a little bit about this when I ran into a Rolling Loud, but you had this match where you were bleeding and the dude was tasting your blood out of your face.
Yeah. Full gear.
Well, kind of like you had kind of said it a little bit, like you guys knew that was going to happen to you. Everyone got tested to make sure, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah. We get tested pretty much every pay-per-view.
So for people who don't know, there's like you guys are having this match, and then you're bleeding out of your face, and then the dude you're wrestling, who was it?
Hangman Page.
Hangman Page starts like pretty much like
fountaining
the blood out of your face,
yeah.
and drinking your blood. Which it's the most like hardcore ass shit I've seen since like I was a little kid watching like backyard wrestling at ECW.
Yeah.
But I remember how viral it went. But like, can you kind of like, whose idea was that? And like, were you hesitant about doing it? Like, kind of walk me through like the build up to that idea actually coming to fruition.
I'm fairly hesitant on a lot of things. As you can go through my history once again if you want to look up my history. You see me do some wild shit in the wrestling world. It was just like we were so deep in the feud. It's like he was so enraged that it was almost like a disrespectful thing. Like it'd just be such a shock value. Like that's how crazy I pulled him into my world.
Right.
If you know Hangman Page, he's always been like through the history of All Elite Wrestling, he's been like one of the truest like goody two shoes type guys. Like he had like a drinking problem as on camera and stuff, but through all in all, he always came out doing the right thing. He had morals. There's lines he didn't cross. He was like an upstanding citizen, and he was the passion and the heart of All Elite Wrestling.
And then you pulled him into the darkness.
I pulled him so far into my world because I wanted to get into this spot. He was a former world champion. I wanted that spot so bad that I was willing to do whatever I had to do and manipulate whoever I had to manipulate, which just happened to be Hangman, because he was kind of like coasting. He was like just riding the wave of his contract and stuff, and just, yes, boss, I'll do whatever I need to do. And he was complacent. And I was like, well, if you're going to be complacent, I'm not. I'm starving over here.
Right.
And you're getting out of shape eating.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You've been eating for a while now. I deserve that spot. And if you're just going to like coast, I'm going to move you out of the way and take it. And it came true. And I crossed boundaries, like going into his house, like talking to his infant child in the crib.
That's so fucking crazy.
You know, recording it.
Can Tony Khan work out the streaming deal so I could catch up on all this shit?
I mean, those are on YouTube. You can always check those out. Yeah, you can check those out as much as you want. But like, I crossed the boundaries and I pushed things to a level where he became so.
You're talking
enraged.
his baby?
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, I threw in my merch shirt in this crib.
That's
baby's
great.
crib.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So like, just pushing the boundaries so much where I violated a man's home and security as a man. As a parent,
no, that's crazy.
It's you will be pushed to some crazy lengths. So that's where like I'm disrespecting you so much. I want to take something from you. So like,
so you brought him to such a dark place that he was like,
so like it wasn't just like blood drinking. It was just like no. There was,
but I'm saying like like when you guys, whose idea was that?
I think I'm going to guess it was his.
So like when you guys take that to Tony, does Tony like, yeah?
No, we don't. It's just like what you see.
Or you guys just do it on the spot.
Like,
so Tony Khan didn't know that was going to happen.
No.
Wow.
Imagine
you're the owner and like, yo, these fuckers are out here drinking blood and shit.
The first 5 minutes of the match too. It was pretty. It was like, what's our hook to keep them glued to watch the rest of this match? I'm like, oh, there it is. Not me just getting stapled in the face.
And is that would that be like a normal? I guess being in both companies, is it normal that in wrestling where you guys will have a spot like that that's so extreme or crazy that the higher ups wouldn't know about it?
There's some that can backfire sometimes, and it has in both companies.
Right.
But once again, when you're with somebody that's kind of like trusted with the ball,
right?
Like me, I was with the Hangman Page, helped create this damn company.
Right.
You could afford to take those little risks. Like over there, if you're in the ring with Dwayne Johnson,
don't take the risk.
You can.
You can.
He can afford to say F this, right.
And
F this.
No, he can do it.
He can do it.
Right.
But when you're in there with him, it's like, no, I got it. Like,
right.
So you kind of ride the backs of like the guys that got the pull. So for me, it was just like, I feel like we can push things a little bit more. Like when I was in the ring with Darby has a lot more tenure and a lot more trust than I did at the time. So like with Darby, we was like, I want to push this a little bit. And
I like Darby. Darby's dope.
Darby's going to push the boundaries no matter what, And so you kind of want to like, those are opportunities to be like, it's risky.
He just set someone on fire with a flamethrower like this weekend.
What I mean, like nobody else is going to get that kind of call.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it was like not a lot of people get that kind of thing, but it's like once again, like he has tenure, he has trust, and he's always been a great performer. Like Hangman Page has always been a great performer, so they kind of have that trust with the Tony Khan and with the AEW to do that kind of stuff, and the fan base welcomes it because they have that trust with the fan base as well.
Yo, what was it like? Give me like when you were at the old place. Like, did you have any sort of interaction with Vince when he was there?
Yeah.
Like, how was Vince? Because obviously this story comes out, it's fucking crazy.
Which we all knew.
And then Vince just got who just dropped named MJF just said his name on AEW. During his promo.
Once again, remember I told you about that trust and having tenure?
Yeah. Well, I feel like if you give that guy a hot mic, no one knows what the fuck's gonna happen.
Exactly.
But what was it? Because I feel like everybody kind of knew, like the way he ran the company was very like, if you're big, if you look a certain way, you're gonna get the benefit of the doubt, whether or not you could wrestle good or not, etc. Like it was more about image and selling T-shirts and shit. Like, what was your experience around Vince?
Not a lot.
It wasn't a lot, right?
No. Like I've had like one or a couple conversations with him. I went to Titan Towers,
right,
and spoke with Laurinaitis and stuff. But and like literally was
a wild boy, that Laurinaitis.
They all wild,
allegedly.
But like been in the offices with them, like as the Hit Row crew, all together. Vince, I've only talked to Vince when I was like the Hit Row crew once again. This was like by the time they already let go of B-Fab, and it was just me, Shanti, and Dollar, and we were just all like. Just talking with them, told us how like things are ran. It's like a little private conversation. How things are ran. This is where like what we do, what we don't do. Things this like this, boom, boom, boom. And like I was like I asked him a couple questions. I talked to him like a regular dude. Like the thing about like with me is just like. I'm not going to like. I understand. I always respect authority. I came up in the military,
right? And
I know like my chain of command, and I understand those type of things and stuff. But like, when it comes to my job and my passion and something I've been doing for like 15 years, and like I'm super confident about that, and I exude that, and I stand on my work, and. I'm always going to stand on that no matter who I talk to, whether I'm talking to Tony Khan, a Vince McMahon, a Triple H, a Shawn Michaels, it doesn't matter to me. So I talk to them straight equal. And like, if you don't like, if I was never disrespectful to him, but if I'm always going to ask questions to inquire, and I'm also going to, I'm always going to like necessarily speak what I feel is like right. What I feel is like, okay, this is something I just want to know.
Yeah.
I can always acquire. I don't think anybody's ever going to question or like punish someone for inquiring to how to make their job, improve their job, and do better. And if that's like costly or anything, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm always going to find work. I'm always going to like.
Right.
I feel like you can never be afraid to lose your job. That's how good you have to be. That's how like you never.
That's some real shit. If you're that good, man,
don't be afraid to lose your job.
Because you're gonna always land on your feet.
I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm gonna make you feel like, damn, I wish we had him here.
Has anybody in the management brass over there now? Because obviously, Shawn Michaels, by the way, was just on TV with Sexy Red last night.
Shout out to Sexy Red and Shawn, because that was crazy.
Did you see that? She was in the van.
How did you not? Yeah.
That shit was amazing.
Shout out to them.
But has anybody reached out and just congratulated you since you got the title?
Oh, yeah.
Like, did Triple H shoot you a text?
People reached out.
Nice.
They show love. Like still, I never.
You have so many friends over there.
Yeah, I never left with a bad rapport. Like, even, I'll still, Shawn Michaels and me still say, like, Happy Father's Day, Happy Birthday, and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool to have that.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels is he's probably my number 2 favorite wrestler of all time.
Oh yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites. Like I'll still send an emoji and an IG story to Paul Heyman, and he'll respond back. He's like,
Gotta stop the interview to say about our good folks at Odd Socks, baby. Yeah. Shout out to Odd Socks. Now, this is what I love about Odd Socks. One, they're family. We love them. But also, they have the most comfortable socks in the fucking world, all right? Now, look, they got the craziest licenses. You see the Jolly Rancher. These are actually fly as fuck. Some Doritos socks. They got the WWE license, which is just my absolute favorite. And then, personally, my favorite is the Odd Socks Basics. Now, these are just the basic socks. Now, these are in my bag, because I'm taking these. I love these Odd Socks Basics. These are literally the most comfortable socks in the world. All right, these are just the plain guys, all right? Also, they got the Scarface. They got the Godfather. And they have underwear. What are we talking about? What are these? 2XL Reese's Pieces. If somebody was going to wear some Reese's underwear, I'd assume they'd be a 2X on the size. Shout out to the Ghostbusters. Look, so much going on at Odd Socks. What you got to do is go to oddsocksofficial.com, use that promo code Bootleg, and you will save 20% off at checkout, all right? It don't matter what you're into. They got all the licenses, Coca-Cola. You could be a Pepsi guy instead. They got both. You know what I'm saying? You're into maybe some anime. They got all the anime licenses. They got Naruto. They also got, they just rolled out the new Power Rangers, Transformers, all that. Oddsocksofficial.com. Use the promo code Bootleg. Save 20% off right now. Oh, my goodness. Let me tell you something. The best part about my bookie is not only is it the best sports book, period. I mean, look, we're in the middle of baseball season, and baseball season is big money season. If you are a gambler, baseball is where you get the shmoney, all right? Not only that, but they got the full-fledged casino going on, all right? I'm telling you, last night I'm on my bookie. I'm playing roulette with a lady. I'm looking at the lady. She's on video. She's rolling the wheel. It's a movie, all right? They got blackjack. They got whatever you're into. Blackjack, craps, man, all kinds of slots. Some of these slot games are so fun, all right? Listen, everything you want, all on one site, mybookie.ag. This is the best part. When you sign up with our promo code Bootleg, not only do you help us out, but you help yourself out, because you're going to get that first deposit bonus. Money to gamble with immediately, free, once you sign up. mybookie.ag. Use the promo code Bootleg. Get the first deposit bonus right now. Let's get back into the interview. What'd you think? I mean, listen, obviously you're an AEW guy, but did you? I was at the Hall of Fame when he did his speech.
I didn't get to see it all. Oh. I saw once again Twitter clips.
Nah, man, I watched that whole thing unedited live, and I was just like,
barring up.
Well, me and my son were like in Philly, and I was like, man, it was like Friday night, and I was like, I'm fucking tired. We got into town in the morning. I was like, we got the Hall of Fame, like we can go do. I was like, you know what, fuck it, we'll go to Hall of Fame, because it was SmackDown and Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And I remember like it ran late. It was like we left after. I think The Rock ended up going on like at the end, but I remember just seeing the Paul Heyman show. I'm like, this was worth it, because he was, man.
I feel like that man is always worth the price of admission.
He's the
and
GOAT.
Anything he does.
What is it like having a manager or having a guy who like a confidant who I would, because to me, if I ever got into wrestling, that's the gig. You're able to you know how to take some bumps. You get to talk your shit, but you don't get fucked up in the ring. But now you have a man. Like, what is that like? Is that pretty cool?
Nana's my first ever manager I've ever had in my career. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, now you have a guy, anybody, not just anybody can get a guy. That's, you know what I mean?
Well, like for me, I feel like it's like what is me and Nana's relationship to one another? Is he a businessman? Is he does he get contracts done? Is he a sleazy little like just like a guy that like like a little muppet that runs around? Like, what is he? What is his relation to Swerve, and what does Swerve need? Those were the questions that I asked myself. I'm like, why does Swerve need Nana? What does Nana do for Swerve that Swerve can't do for himself? Well, like now we're just asking those questions. Now there's a multitude of things he does. He kind of does my bidding for him. He's also my moral compass. If you notice certain things, he's like, no, not right now, boss. Let's go. Let's get out of this. Because like, I'll pop off and start a fight and do some wild shit right then and there. But Nana's like, nope, we got bigger things to handle. Or like, hey, there's some news I need to talk to you about that happened on Collision, by the way, that you might not know. Okay, so now he's my ear to the streets too. Then he's like, oh, you're in trouble. Here's my head, my crown. Use it. Okay, so he's also like this. He's, then like Tristan's trying to drive off and leave him. Nope. He's also a guardian angel. So like I define him on many different things. He's also a music person. He's been in my music videos and stuff like that. So he's been on interviews with me. So he has a multitude of different uses and stuff that bail me out when like I'm being overwhelmed.
Was that your idea, or did Tony say?
That was all Tony Khan.
That's dope.
That was all Tony Khan. Tony Khan was like, I want to do a merger with Mogul Embassy, with Mogul affiliates and the embassy, and bring you two together, because I think we want to get them on All Elite Wrestling TV because they were doing a lot of Ring of Honor.
Right.
And I think you could use heaters to be around you, and I think Nana and you complement each other very well. And I was like, okay, that's what the boss wants. That's what we're going to do. Now it's like, how do I blow this up to more than just like, hey, hi guys, we're sitting.
Guys,
we're
how
all
you
sitting.
guys doing? I guess we're working together.
Yeah, the teacher's putting us together to do this assignment. Like, how do we like? So we want to get an A, of course.
Yeah.
And I think our achievement is always to get an A, but we had C-level expectations, and I think we passed and
exceeded. Yeah.
I think we exceeded that, because when we first started, I heard some comments and like, Swerve doesn't need that. Like, what did these guys? What do they do? And then like it started growing. Then we started doing more devious stuff on television. Then I think that's where it really, really began. Was like, how do these guys interact outside of the ring? Like, because that's where a lot of fans like where you really become in tune with characters on television. How do these people react in real life scenarios?
Right.
That's
real.
Like, how does Roman talk with Paul?
Right.
Like, how does I think one thing with AEW was, how does MJF and Adam Cole interact outside of this? All those like playing dodgeball, they challenging each other to drinking like alcohol back and forth, and then going on fishing trips. I was like, I feel more close to these guys because they're interacting outside of just the wrestling ring, so there's a little bit more to them. So when they do wrestle, you understand the dynamic, and
you have more. It's almost like more than ever, the fans are in on like. They're not just in on whatever they see on TV. They're in on the whole. Like
if I could put it back to music, we see artists perform on stage, but what we really want to see is how they are in the studio, working in a song. We want to see that BTS, We want to see like the Hard Knock Life tour, oh, that's what they doing back there. Oh, that's why that's what made those artists.
Yeah, that backstage movie was that backstage crazy. Yeah,
it was crazy, and it's like, I want to be a rapper because this is the life I want to see. This is what I want to experience. And like maybe some are doing stuff that you wouldn't do, and maybe some are acting the way that you anticipated them to act, but you wasn't sure, and now you're like, you know what? That's exactly what I would do. DMX would. That's exactly how I would be, like acting backstage if I was in that position, that lifestyle, and that like industry. And so now you kind of like connect with them a little more as people.
For you, what was first for you? Was it pursuing wrestling or music?
I didn't start pursuing music till like 4 years ago.
Okay, so the music thing's newer.
Very.
So you were never like writing back in the day, or
No,
like
I was
jotting in the school notebook.
I was like listening to those albums up there, and like
You were just a fan.
I was just a fan of it, and but I would like rap along to them, and to the point where I didn't even I just knew the lyrics, I knew the cadences, I knew the rhythm, I just knew it. I had the muscle memory in the like of just like following along to certain lyrics, and then as I got older and more mature with things, I could really start like really deciphering like what they're saying, why they were saying this, why the like lyrics were like being used in this certain tone, what a double entendre was. I'm like, oh, that's what that means. It started. It's almost the Matrix started being uncoded to me a little bit more and more. Then when I actually Montezi, my co-host of the Swerve podcast, he really like opened my mind to like, this is why you do it this way. This is why you do it this way. Right. But here, try it. Do it your way. Find your way. I'll guide you when you're like kind of drifting off and everything. But just right now, it's like learning to paint. It's just paint something. Just paint something. Yeah. Just start with a blank canvas and paint. And then as I've gotten more mature, I wouldn't say I like became great at this, but like I'm still learning. But like I'm still being guided. But it's all starting to become a little bit closer, a little bit more. And then like getting on songs with like Mickey Fax and Music Soul Child and Benny the Butcher.
Crazy.
And
shout out to Mickey Fax. He's an alien.
Like I've done 3 songs with him, and I'm like, oh my god.
He's like quite literally like a rap like
savant.
Yeah, it's like I think he teaches it.
He does teach it.
Yeah, I'm like I think he teaches it. Like he's so good. Like it's crazy.
And he goes like head to head with a Royce, a Lupe.
Yeah.
Like he goes head to head with these guys, and then like him deciphering why things are said in the cadence and the inflection of boom, hitting it right here in the right times. Then getting with Flash Garments, who's like heavily in the industry and like literally in studios with Kanye, in studios with Ryan Leslie, traveling with these people.
Shout out to Ryan Leslie.
Yes, and like he's like, all right. Now we're going to show you how to make records,
which is important. It's
important. Like it's very important. So now I was just like literally from like, okay, this is the local hometown like teacher to like, okay, this is like the next teacher. Right. But we're all still working at it. We all still like performed on the Jericho cruise together, and it's like, okay, these are my 2 like mentors that really brought me together to do this.
Yeah, didn't I just saw like, did you just do something with Fozzy? Or did
We're about to.
It's coming up. I saw Chris Jericho post a flyer and like you were on it too. I was like, that's a random mixture of music.
That's kind of but
it's probably there's a lot of wrestling fans, right?
Yeah, but it's like that's kind of how like my career has gone.
Yeah,
like just like how does Swerve get here? Like I'm rolling out. How the hell does a wrestler get on stage?
It's a big deal.
Is he going to wrestle a match? Like no, I'm doing music.
Yeah,
like so it was like. How did this happen? How does that? Even Jericho was just like, I'm shocked that you got that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, but it's just like finding ways through these canals that is this industry, and just like, but once again, it's still a learning process for me. But I'm in the right places with the right people. Like I still come to LA and get in the studio with Chase the Money.
Right. Shout out to Chase.
Shout out Chase, man. Like getting it's a lot of like DJ Flip. Just throwing beats at me, it's like, yeah, come in. Well, just welcome me in with like open arms. So it's just really awesome. I'm blessed to be doing this.
Talk to me about, because like I feel like throughout the history of like my, watching wrestling, like wrestling has always been, it has always felt in the way that like black wrestlers are depicted on TV, it has always felt a little racist. Like, especially like when we were growing up, like there was always like, it felt like anybody who would come in would have to have like a shtick that was like super like stereotypical, and like
it felt like we had 2 archetypes.
Yeah, it was like you were either the blinged out dude or like the militant dude. And it was like, like, and obviously, shots to The Rock, who's obviously a wrestler of color, who kind of broke through a lot of that. But shots of Kofi Kingston for winning the championship, who, I know that was a big deal.
Big deal for me, for sure. In the last, like, decade, definitely for me.
I mean, just deal. That whole era of the New Day.
Big E, shout out Big E, too.
Big E, man.
Lashley.
Yeah, for sure. But, like, for you, like, do you feel like the industry has finally moved past that weird, because it really was a thing when I was growing up. I was like, dog, like
I felt like Mark Henry was like a mix of that too. Like he kind of broke the mold a little bit.
Because he was just the world's strongest man.
He was just an athlete.
Yeah,
he was
for sure.
He was a big
Ahmed
powerful,
Johnson too. When I was a kid, I remember watching Ahmed Johnson. Yeah.
I can't really speak on like what stopped Ahmed from being like the world champion and stuff, but I just
remember liking him as a kid. And he was just a strong dude. Like
he's a strong dude.
Yeah.
But like just Mark and Booker as the King Booker image.
Oh yeah.
Those two like in like the mid 2000s, early 2000s, really broke the mold in a sense for like just at that window, that time period right there. It was just like they were just good.
Yeah. They were just good.
They were just good. They were just good athletes. And Booker was just like so over the top, outlandish, like of a character that he felt like larger than life. He went larger than life with it.
Sure.
When Mark Henry, his in-ring performance made him larger than life. You know, so those guys just like kind of found another niche into it outside of those stereotypical things. You know, he's like he was black royalty, King Booker, with Sharmell, his black queen. Yeah. Like, you know, they were royal. They felt big, and I always appreciated that for what they did. You know, looking back on it and things like that. Like, so for me, it was just like, once again, where do I find my lane? And like, so like my black royalty is like with music.
Right.
In a sense, it's just like, no, I'm not broke. No, I'm not like ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed. I can go out and speak about like, yeah, I'm a black world champion. I'm proud of that. Like, well, what is things? It got to be about color, because it is about color. Right. It is. It's not even about me in color. It's about representation in the color. It's about inspiring another young black kid who's
watching right now, doesn't think it's possible, yeah.
Right, who doesn't think it's possible, or he doesn't see himself as that, or I like this. I feel like I'm somewhat like a Swerve, but I don't think I can. I don't think I could ever get into wrestling and be a world champion.
Right.
Well, now that inspires confidence in that kid, which is Swerve Confidence, my social media tag, for those kind of reasons. It's not like, yes, I feel confident about myself, but you can too. I want you to feel confident. I want you to be inspired and like have your confidence grow, because a lot of like I was with shout out Johnny Chris from Drinks with Johnny. I was with him yesterday. We had a great conversation about the fact that like, how did I grow to getting to where I'm at? I was like, well, I didn't set like the goal was this or fail.
Right.
And if you look at things when you start, it's so broad, it's so big, it's so hard to feel like, how do I accomplish this? Because people want to like jump into something and they compare themselves to like a platinum record on day 2. And I'm like,
it always happens with any industry, yeah.
And like universally, not even just like.
And then you can psych yourself out, start feeling really bad about your process, and
like even in like if you work like a regular job, like, you know, like you compare yourself. How do I make like CEO?
Yeah.
On like your 3rd week on the job, it's like no. So, for me, how it started off with just like, I just want to wrestle in a show where I make enough money to pay my phone bill for the month.
Right.
That's it. Simple. And then like, okay, cool. Now I want to try to pay rent.
Yeah, like what if I don't have to work anywhere else?
Right. Right. Like what if I just like do enough to like, I just want to get on a flyer. Now I want to be the headline of the flyer. Right. Now I want to be like, you know, I want to win a championship. Mm-hmm. Now I want to win the championship at these indie shows. You know what? I want to drive out of state to a wrestling show and then get paid gas money. That would be a great accomplishment for me. You know, now you're driving to 6 different states in that radius. Now it's like, you know what? I want to get a flight now. Maybe I'll be good enough for someone to book me and put me on a flight. Oh, cool. Now I can fly kind of like an hour away.
Right.
I'm getting flights now. I want an overseas tour. Now your confidence is growing, because now you know you can make that money. You know you can pay off this. You know you can pay rent. You know you can. Now you probably can buy lease a car. So now you don't have to bum rides anymore. Now you know how Now you can afford better gear to look better on shows, to main event, to get championships, and that's how your confidence grows. And that's, for me, is really where I felt like I know I can do this now. When you don't think that you can pull something off, you don't think. So when I get to like AEW, like, no, I know I can do this.
Is it possible? Like, I think about like the correlation to the music industry, where it's like, yeah, you could be an independent artist nowadays and like make a good living if you kind of have a good fan base and you get your merch right. Is it possible to be an indie wrestler and kind of exist on the fringes of the industry if you're not in one of the two main companies?
Yeah, the Young Bucks did it for years.
Because, there's like the ProWrestlingTees.com, people sell merch on there, and there's
the Young Bucks like blew that whole industry up out of the water. Like back in 2015,
I might pop up in New Japan, might pop up and do a show.
Ring of Honor,
yeah,
right? They'll pop up and still sell like 2,000 shirts at PWG out of boxes, not by the ring.
Right.
And then maybe we'll just go to the UK because we've deprived them of our presence in their matches for so long. Let's go over in the UK and do a tour with Kenny.
Right.
Let's bring Kenny and the Elite over there. I was on those shows. I wrestled them on those shows, and they sold out.
Crazy.
I remember they sold merch from the start of the show all the way up until past intermission while the matches were still going on. People were still in lines buying shirts from them, and we had to face them in the main event. 3 matches.
That's crazy.
3 matches.
Yeah.
They were still, because they were selling merch the entire time. Like y'all, like people don't understand. Like y'all take the Young Bucks and these guys for granted. Like these guys were already doing that in like 2012,
right?
2013. I was on shows with these guys. I was like, that was a time y'all had to be there. Like there was like they were getting like their shirts sold in Hot Topic.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and
things like that, like the Bullet Club. Mm-hmm. AJ Styles with them, Finn Balor. Like Candice LeRae got a shirt from them.
It's so crazy if you think about the Bullet Club and like how iconic that logo has become and how it's changed and like people have used it for like and it all started as like the wildest indie faction probably ever.
Yeah, like, man,
and all the people who came from it, and
they were on the indies, making 6 figures, bro.
Crazy.
Off of independent wrestling, just like being able to like wrestle when they felt like it, wrestle whoever they felt like it, wherever they felt like it, and like could just like run the dollar up like crazy. It was just like that was a phenomenon. It was just like, man, that there is a way to make a living and like not have to be in these places to really like buy a house off of independent wrestling is insane in California. Crazy. They were living.
Tell me about the grind of wrestling, because I feel like it is the most. I mean, you guys don't get a day off, like in terms of like there's no off season in wrestling.
Right.
This is every week.
Well, like people want to be a wrestler until they see how much they get paid and the entry level of things.
And then like the level of work where it's like, this is you might have a day a week where you can fly home and see your family and hang out, maybe 2 days. Like,
I haven't been home in like 5-6 days just now, and that's not that crazy. But like on pay-per-view weeks, it does get a little nuts. And then I'm home for like a couple days, and I gotta go back on and I have other ventures too, so I gotta be in like New York for like the House of Dragons premiere with the championship. I gotta be.
And you got the belt, so you also are like the face of the company.
Yeah, right? I gotta get in like a day or two earlier, to like do these interviews, come in with speak with guys like yourself, and like wave the flag, promote. Then my kids live out of state, so I got to stop in, see my kids, have time with my girls. And they're in high school, middle school right now.
Right.
So like get that time, then back on the road, because like the turnover time is like so once a week. I'm like, but the time frame, you still got to travel. So like.
Yeah, it's not like you just snap your fingers and be somewhere.
No, sometimes I got to be on Collision too.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do that. We couldn't fit this on the show. Throw it on Collision on Saturday. So I'll see you on Saturday. So back out around, So like it's a lot. And the higher you go, the more responsibility.
I feel like the higher you go, the more. I mean, outside of like the guys who are quote unquote part timers, but like the guys who are on TV every week, you're like, shit, man, like. Then the house shows. Yeah,
because like I can't afford that, and I can't afford to have a sick day. I'm like, I'm not feeling good. I'm just gonna stay home. Like I can't take those sick days. I got to be out there. I got to like remedy and figure it out. And on the entry level of it, It's like you got to do that and then train, and then do that and then train, and then
eat, and then remember you got to eat okay on the road.
And then eating good on the road is expensive. Like cheap food is
the best because if it's late, we get back to the hotel.
It's late. Yeah. Try finding like salmon at 1 in the morning.
Good luck.
Yeah, broccoli and rice. You better pack it. So like it's like you got to, and then finding time to work out, like because.
You got to work out.
People are going to call you a slob if you look on TV, and then he's slacking off. He doesn't want it as bad. You don't want to show those things.
How many days a week you go to the gym?
4 to 5.
4 to 5, yeah.
Yeah, and they're not like small. They're like 2-hour, 2.5-hour workouts and stuff. So that's when I'm home. Right. But like on the road, it's like I shorten it because like my time is limited. So it's like hour.
Hotel gym.
Yeah, hotel gym, or do you try to find a gym if you have the time? Because finding a gym, you gotta wake up earlier to travel to a good gym,
right?
And also like unless you got hookups at those gyms and stuff like that, know somebody, you get a discount. If not, you're paying $30 out of pocket to work out at these gyms. Once again, entry level,
right.
So $30 and then food, and then buying your hotels, sometimes rental, then checking bags.
That was a lot.
Like it's small, but it adds up week by week.
What do your kids think? Obviously, your daughters, I'm sure, have watched you grind and grind and grind.
Yeah.
From the time they're babies to now. What did they think when you were able to be finally get this belt?
My oldest is more emotional.
Right.
She's in the 14.
Okay.
So she's getting in that stage of she's in basketball, heavy into basketball. Right. AAU. We pay for her training, her shooting training, and extra training, off-season training, and she appreciates that, but she wants time with her dad now. She's like, well, I meant like you missed a lot of Halloweens, you missed a lot of Thanksgivings, you missed a lot of things. Like I kind of growing up without you a little bit. And when I sat down in that promo a couple weeks back on Collision, that was really real. She doesn't feel like she knows me. It's because of like all the sacrifice. This doesn't come without sacrifice.
Nothing. Honestly, nothing in life.
The higher you go, you sacrifice way more. So I sacrificed a lot of time. So I'm having those conversations with my oldest. My youngest is still she's 12.
Right.
So she's still has that childlike wonder to her about things. Do
you have to tell them hey, if you're going to watch me on TV this week?
Sometimes I just no, just
or don't watch this week.
Yeah. Or I'll send part of the match, certain things. So it's having those adult conversations with your kids now.
Right.
So that's the stage I'm at. So it's like she likes it, but she's also torn from it because
it took
time away.
Yeah, for sure.
So now it's like, all right, I gotta fly home, see my kids. But even once again, flying home, seeing your kids, I'm not staying at my baby mama's house.
Right.
I gotta get
a hotel,
Airbnb. Rental,
for sure.
Because traveling around, so that takes money away.
Hey, let's stop the interview real quick to tell you about our good folks at King Palm. That's right, man. Shout out to King Palm. We're talking about nothing but that organic, all right? That natural, them leaves, all right? There's no tobacco involved, and they're so smooth when you smoke in them. I love King Palm. It's the only thing I'm smoking out of. Now, if you go to your local liquor store, you go to your local smoke shop, you can get King Palms. Of course, 7-Eleven's got the King Palms, and they have so many crazy flavors. Shout out to Sugar Sean, who's from Phoenix, Arizona, my hometown. He's got his own flavor. They just sent us these. Now, what's dope about King Palm is that they have the terpene-infused flavors. So at the end of the tip of these pre-rolls, right, you get the leaf, you squeeze the tip, that's what she said, and then you just get a burst of flavor. This is that honey mango, all right? Now, this is the most important part. This is absolutely natural, tobacco-free leaves, the cleanest way to smoke. All right, trust me when I say it, man. We love King Palm over here. So many flavors. I mean, shout out to the grape, shout out to the honey mango, shout out to the sugar punch right here. You know what I'm saying? Look, if you go to kingpalm.com right now, you can get hooked up with everything you need at 50% off if you use the promo code Bootleg or Bootleg Kev. Try either one of those. I forget which one it is. It's Bootleg or it's Bootleg Kev. You know what? The correct promo code will be down below. Use the one that's down here, kingpalm.com. Get 50% off right now. Shout out to King Palm. Also, want to shout out to our good folks at Blue Chew, baby.
Shout out to Blue Chew. Now, this is what's going on with Blue Chew, man. Everybody keeps asking me, does Blue Chew work? Yes, it works, but don't take my word for it. You're going to get a month for free when you go to BlueChew.com and you use the promo code Bootleg. A month for free. Now, what is Blue Chew? Fellas, if you're dealing with erectile dysfunction, fellas, if your dick is not getting as hard as you'd like it to, maybe for your wife. Oh, I don't know. Listen, all you got to do is go to BlueChew.com. It has the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but it's getting delivered to you in a chewable form, right to your door, in discreet packaging, and you do not have to go into a doctor's office to get Blue Chew. You go to BlueChew.com, you use the promo code Bootleg, you get a month's supply delivered to your door, discreetly, of course. Discreetly. No doctor's appointments. No going and leaving your house and sitting in a lobby and waiting for some, lady to call you in so you could tell her how your cock's not working properly. It happens, fellas, all right? BlueChew.com, take my word for it. Also, take their word for it because they're going to give you a month's supply for free, just $5 shipping, BlueChew.com, promo code Bootleg. Let's get back to the interview.
Talk to me. Obviously, Mercedes just got the belt too. Shout out to her. I think she was is it the biggest free agency contract ever signed at AEW? And
definitely probably for in the women's, like in the women's category, probably both. Like
what was it?
AEW and WWE.
What's it like having her in the locker room? Because obviously she's had a crazy run doing New Japan and like just kind of like, I guess a mini version of what Cody did when he left. Like just
For me, it feels good to have like a women's match so prominent on the show, like as one of the triple main events and stuff for Double or Nothing. I would love to really see them main event, like just main event period, on one of the pay-per-views coming up, because I think Mercedes has that much star power and we believe in her to do that. It feels good to like have like that level of like, okay, boom, the bar set.
Right.
You always want to set the bar, boom, and I feel like she's really doing that as far as like what's it going to take to be this champion now. It's like you can't just settle for just like being good enough. No, you got to set the bar and you got like, all right, this is where we got to meet it now. And you want to do it in unique ways. I feel like our world champions, our past former world champions, set a bar high too. Kenny Omega set the bar really high.
For sure.
Like, Moxley, 3-time AEW world champion, set the bar in that category. Being like passionate about our business, passionate about our company. Then MJF, like youngest AEW world champion, set another bar with that reign. And like the quality of what he was doing on television every week. So I got to find my way to set a new bar in my sense. So like media is one of my ways, I feel like, of doing that kind of thing in my unique way.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, there's a new era of AEW. How do I set that bar for the rest of the guys? And we have a stacked roster.
Super stacked.
Ready to get
super
like
stacked
chomping at the bit. So I think Mercedes is doing the same sense of just like with star power. And then now that she won the championship, had the match, now she's going to do it again in ring. Like, all right, you ladies already super talented, already like great names. Now we're going to raise it up a little bit more, and not just to compete with her, but like literally come up and try to just be on that level.
Did you see there's like a meme I saw, and I don't, essentially I think Becky Lynch's deal's about to be up and she's about to be a free agent.
Maybe she just wants to be home with the kids, man. Who knows?
Maybe
she just want to be home with the kids, man.
Be crazy.
Because now, like, Seth has been hurt. He has surgery and stuff. So now they're both going to be home.
Now they both can be at home for a little bit.
Some people just want to be home. Like,
for a little bit, yeah.
No, let's not see, like, oh, she's going to jump to here.
Yeah.
I'm like, let her be home.
Yeah,
let her be
relax
home. Let her be a
kids.
mom. Let
sure.
Seth be a dad. Let them be a family for, like, give them that time.
Give them fucking 6 months or something.
They worked hard for it, and they deserve that.
For sure.
And so I'm always like, you let them be family first.
I was going to ask you, now that there's like this power shift over what they're calling the Triple H era, right? Could you see a world in the future? Because I think at Mania, a lot of fans were hoping that Jon Moxley was going to pop out.
That was funny. I thought that was funny.
Because I was like, oh my God. When I heard the Shield music, I stood on the fucking chair. I was like,
knowing John, he's probably like,
but could you ever see a world in which there's some sort of like
like they're never going to officially emerge talent, but like where there's like some sort of bleeding of like the DC and Marvel universe in any way.
If there's ever a time it could happen, now's more likely than it's ever been.
Right.
I don't think either person is opposed, but if there's ever a time, like as far as Tony Khan and Triple H, I don't think there's ever been a time that's more likely than now.
That's good to know.
The percentages.
The percentages are higher than
the percentage went from 0.04
to maybe 2. 3%.
2.4.
You'll take it.
And that's more than we've ever gotten.
How much did you love the NFL draft when Tony Khan was selling his neck injury during the NFL draft?
True pro.
It was so good.
True pro. I was actually at the building. I was doing media at Jacksonville Stadium, and I saw them setting up everything. So it was really cool. Yeah, like Tony's funny, and Tony's great, and his dad is a big supporter too. I got to meet his dad a couple times. Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Do you guys just get Jaguars tickets anytime you want?
Yeah, I get the suite now too.
I mean, you're the champ. I mean, listen, hopefully they're a little bit better.
He introduced me to Roger Goodell too.
Oh,
at
really?
Monday Night Football. Yeah, I got to meet Kurt Warner the whole Monday.
I love Kurt Warner.
Yeah, the whole Sunday.
Goodell, not so much.
I was there for Sunday and Monday Night Football.
Are you a football fan?
Big, yeah.
So who's your team?
I'm a Rams fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Greatest show on turf.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was about to say there had to have been because of like Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and
Marshall. I got to meet Kurt Warner on Sunday Night Football too. And
what was it? Oh, Mark Bolger after that.
Mark was cool.
He was all right. He made a Pro Bowl or two, but Kurt was the guy.
I liked Steven Jackson.
We
always had like banger running backs.
Steven Jackson was a mean ass man.
We've always had banger running backs. We've had like Marshall, the Steven Jackson to Todd Gurley.
Gurley was cold, man. Fuck, I forgot about Gurley. Even now, what's the new dude? Shit, I had
Kyron Williams is cool.
Yeah, Williams, he's a baller.
Kyron Williams is cool, and we just drafted Blake Corum, so I'm like looking forward to like 1-2 punch. Like they're both scat backs too, so that's going to be really wild.
I always, because I'm a Cardinals fan, which is we're in the NFC West with you guys, and I mean, I always tell people it's nice being
the day after actually the full gear match, the bloody match. I actually went to the Rams game versus Seattle. So my first time in SoFi, and it was like literally
SoFi's beautiful.
Amazing.
So crazy.
I actually put in a bid for like the Aaron Donald jersey, the signed Super Bowl jersey, and like it was like nobody signed up, so I just like won it just flat out. I was like, oh, cool. So like now I got that jersey in the house.
I was gonna say like it felt like obviously the Rams won Super Bowl. They won one Super Bowl with Kurt, right? Or was it 2? Was it 1 or 2?
They went to 2, and they lost to Tom. We gave Tom Brady his first one.
Correct. But I was going to say, obviously, you got to experience that win, but I'm sure you were just getting into the Rams back then.
Yeah, like the Madden 03
era. I was going to say, like, fast forward, like, because as a Cardinals fan, I would not know what it's like to ever. I'm a Suns fan, too. I don't know what a championship feels like in life.
None at all. Y'all were so close with the Pittsburgh Steelers, though.
Jesus Christ. Fucking that was Santonio Holmes.
One of the greatest touchdown throws ever.
But they always say, like, well, like the Rams traded all this equity to get the ring, and they got it.
Yeah.
Right?
They cashed out.
They cashed out. Is it worth it?
Yes. Yes.
I saw it.
In this decade, we got it. We got one in this decade.
That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what happens with the Suns. I don't care if this owner trades every fucking draft pick. If we get one ring and suck for the next 20 years, I don't give a fuck.
Dude, oh my God. It was tragic watching that this year.
Yeah.
It was tragic. Yeah. I was like, Bradley Beal, I feel like this makes him worse.
Bill's fucking terrible. Shout out to Bill. Nice guy. Yo, obviously you're a hip hop guy. What are your, first of all, what were your thoughts on the Drake Kendrick beef?
Like I said this before on something. I was like, I feel like one of the things about like Drake was already fighting an uphill battle because we see so much of him.
He's overexposed.
We see so much of him for the last 15 years.
Right.
He's always outside, so we always kind of know, like, even if the rumors are true or not true.
But there's always something in the air about
There's
him.
always something in the air to kind of have those implications just play in. And, people are going to take things and just run it up anyway.
Right.
We don't know what implications are about Kendrick. So right then and there, the wave is just, like, heavily on Kendrick's side. And I think just playing into implications is what won Kendrick for my.
I just thought strategically he just like
timing was everything too.
It was like, bro, when he dropped Family Matters and then like 45 minutes later the Meet the Grams came out, I was like,
You just sucked the life out of the room.
We were in the car driving around Miami. It was me, Shirt King Fade, and Flash, and we were like, all right, we were just sitting there waiting for our food, and then like Drake just dropped Family Matters, and we got in the got the food, got in the car, listened to it, and then he was like, "Yo, did Kendrick just? Is this fake? Is AI? No, Kendrick just dropped. Play it." And we sat in front of his house. We were dropping him off. We sat in front of his house for like an hour and a half, just listening back and forth.
I was driving from LA to Phoenix during the whole thing, and I was just like, "This is fucking crazy."
I was like, "No, he's."
And like earlier in the day, Kendrick dropped that freestyle where he like kind of warned him, like, "Hey, you got some leaks in your camp.
You take it,
whatever you're gonna do tonight, don't do it."
It's just a friendly fade. You're taking it here, I'm taking it there. There's something you don't want to do.
So crazy, man.
And I think another thing with Kendrick is like there's so many quotables. So many quotables on just the Euphoria alone.
Euphoria is my favorite record out of all of them because I thought it was such a methodical. It was a kill shot, but also like a literal warning shot. Like, hey man,
like this is a friendly fade.
Don't tell no lies about me, and I won't tell the truth about you.
Yeah, I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough.
So good, man.
What is it? The braids? It's like there's so many quotables from Kendrick. And because of the way he says it in his voice and the inflections, it's like it's comedic, but it's also like it hits.
What is it? The braids?
It's sharp.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
The different flows.
Shout to Kendrick, man.
It's still like his syllable schemes.
Who's your like top 3 or 4 all time?
I mean, Hov is one of them for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Like just on like if you want to look numbers and statistics and stuff, Drake has to be up there.
Yeah.
And influence alone in the past like 15, 20 years, it has to be Kanye.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, there's so many more artists that could have had more influence. And from the impact that they made,
I think Kanye is the most influential artist ever.
Because he kept going.
Yeah.
Because he kept going.
He's influenced the world.
Yes.
More than any artist. I mean, we're talking about like fashion. We're talking about like
talking, like just
so
walking down the street.
He had motherfuckers walking around with them fucking glasses you couldn't see out of back in the fucking
like these
glow in the dark.
I'm like,
era.
I can't see. I hate these. What is going on?
But people were wearing them.
Like the haircuts, like the mohawk mullet,
for sure,
fro things,
for sure,
wearing suits. And now like people don't even. The people come on stage with full masks. I'm like, I can't even see your face. 100%. Now that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know?
That's crazy. All right, so you are facing Christian, but tonight you're facing Kill Switch.
Yes, sir. In a bought HBO sponsored match.
Yeah, House of Dragons sponsored match. I didn't know. I saw the flyer and I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait a minute. Is AEW on HBO Max now? Because that'd be nice. Tony Khan. But figure that out.
But it caught your eye.
It did.
Yeah.
I feel like if you get through the Christian thing, the thing that everybody's going to want to see is you versus MJF.
Possibly.
That feels like the impending collision that's going to happen.
Possibly.
Assuming you get to hold on to this, long enough, which I'm assuming you will. But
no, I will.
But that would be fun.
There's a lot of fun matchups going on right now. There's a lot of what I think? Like, I think all these matchups are all young, youthful too.
True.
We all came up together. Me, myself, MJF, Ospreay. We're all in the same like kind of age group in the same era.
Right.
That's why I feel like we moved to a different era, to a new era. Stuff like MJF is a day one guy out of the 3 of us. But he's still in a youthful spot.
Yeah.
We're still going to have MJF for like another decade.
I thought for sure he was out of there. I was at Rumble in Tampa, and I was just waiting. I was like, well, at least we got Jade.
You got Jade. Shout out Jade. Shout out
Killing
Jade.
it.
Amazing. Good big homie of mine. Like,
she's great.
Still doing her thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm always excited to see what she does next. Always. No matter what. But yeah, like our era is like so like these 3 guys are like, all right, we're going to eat good for another.
For sure, the company's in good hands.
Yeah, and we all care. We all care about one another. We all care about the product. We all care about pushing boundaries in our own ways. Mine is cinematic. Ospreay's is in the ring. MJF is on the microphone.
Right.
Yo,
the last thing I wanted to ask you, I feel like people don't understand. This is more for people who don't understand how hard wrestling is.
I always say it is like the most physically difficult thing to put on a good wrestling match, because not only do you
consistently too.
Well, not only do you have to be an athlete at the highest level, you have to worry about so many different things happening at the same time. You have to make sure you protect the person you're wrestling with. You have to. It's the highest, dangerous, skilled choreography. Like when you have to hit like certain like spots in a match, like it's just crazy. Some of the spots that these guys hit on a consistent basis, like, for you, if you're wrestling somebody who maybe isn't as gifted as you in the ring, is it on you to make them look better and to make sure? Because at the end of the day,
I think my objective is to hurt people. That's what my objective is.
Officially.
And that's my objective, and that's like now my objective is to do it in a sense that protects this.
Got it.
That's how I am with it. Like,
but I was gonna say, like, for you, like,
to take care of them.
It just has to be like super fucking difficult, man. To like, just I mean, for like, how long did it take you to get to the point where you felt very confident to say, oh, I could do 30 minutes, and like.
When I did 30 minutes, it was like you have to do it. So like you have to get thrown out there, and you want to do it in spot. You want to do it in get thrown out there in moments where they're not detrimental. Where this is what the world sees first. You kind of want to be doing 30 minutes behind like
maybe on a dark match or like a
not even
indie
dark
match.
matches. I would say do it on independent shows.
Right,
go
do
30
it on an indie
minutes.
match, yeah.
Test yourself, push yourself to. Like go on like maybe it's in front of 50 people first, 500 people first, like nothing crazy. And even if you crash and burn, at least it's in front of 500 people instead of 5,000 and then 5 million or whatever watching at home or on YouTube. And that it's just like no matter what you do after that, we always have this match. That's like like
Right.
We have this in the can where we can like always go back to. Remember, he did this on pay-per-view. He bombed on there. So like, get those 30-minute matches.
If you're gonna miss a spot or just do it off TV.
Yeah. Like there's comedians that go into dive bars and like
they go work out their shit.
They work their shit
at open
out
mics.
in front
Same
of open mics. Yeah, before they really take it to Netflix and like do their comedy.
Listen,
special.
I think being a wrestler is the most highest difficult thing in the entire world to do, physically, mentally. You guys are fucking modern day gladiators.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being, I think, the artist of the highest caliber. I know, listen, I always put on Twitter, wrestling is art, wrestling is art, wrestling. It's fucking art, man. I think it's of the highest difficulty in the world. Period.
It really is. But when it's done right, it's like
when it's done right, it's so beautiful because you have storytelling and then you have the physical aspect, and there's just so much that goes into it. I don't even think people understand. And it's just like, man,
when I, on my podcast, I interview people from other different forms of entertainment. We've all come across the same struggle and the same we all kind of come together a little more because like we're not too far apart,
right?
In a lot of these ways,
right?
Like music's the same way. It's like when like done poorly, it's like but when it's done beautifully,
but you can be like a terrible rapper and like still like go platinum. I don't know if you could be like a terrible wrestler and like be the world champion. Be the world champ. Well, I mean, shout out to Goldberg. Never mind. Goldberg was fucking terrible. Never mind.
That's why I said it's not. We're not too far apart.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, like
shout out to Ryback. He held the belt for a little bit.
Show me 30-minute Goldberg matches.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. There it is. Oh man, Swerve.
But he still had influence.
He did have influence. Yeah,
I was influenced by Goldberg.
When we were little kids, we were just like,
like I want to see somebody spear jackhammer. That's all I need.
For sure.
Just I want to see a minute and a half song.
Yeah.
Just shake my ass to it.
Yeah, give me a minute and a half SoundCloud rap song. That's what Goldberg was. Anyway, I appreciate you, man. I look forward to seeing you defend this title.
Yes, sir.
I look forward to your reign as the AEW heavyweight champion. And can we just like Tony Khan, please, for the love of God, please just.
He wants that streaming service.
Can we get the streaming together? I'll pay $30 a month, like right now. Like, what are we doing here? Please make it easy.
We got Kev signed on already. We got
all my AEW watching is on Twitter. That's it. I'm just like, oh shit, what happened? Oh shit, this motherfucker got set on fire.
At least put on YouTube. At least, at the very minimum.
My whole feed is like basketball,
football and wrestling on Twitter. The For You, it's all just so. But yo, man, I'm happy for you, and I look forward to seeing you do your thing, bro.
Thank you, family.
Swerve. Boom.
Yeah.
Fire. Good
Check
shit.
out Motion Sickness. Me and Flash Garments coming soon.
There it is. Go run that up.
Run that up.
Hey, this interview is brought to you by our good folks at Hardin. All right, shout out to the Hardin family in Las Vegas. Make sure you follow them. Hardin_Las Vegas, the #1 dispensary. Period. All right, the craziest selection of premium cannabis you can ask for. Plus, when you go to HardinLasVegas.com, you can check out all the other cool stuff they got going on. You know, they got a whole weed university happening in Vegas. Hardin is where it's at, all right? So if you're in Las Vegas, you get into that taxi cab, you say, take me to Hardin, and when you get there, you tell the wonderful bud tenders that I sent you, and they're going to take care of you. Hardin_Las Vegas, go follow them. And yeah, we got another interview coming soon.